The wind roared over the jagged peaks of Velaris, 6, a planet famed for its dark, mountainous terrain and harsh, unpredictable weather. It was a place known for testing even the most well-equipped explorers. The skies were a restless canvas of storm clouds, shifting between dark indigo and bruised purples, while lightning crackled like living veins across the horizon. Amidst this chaos stood an outpost, carved directly into the rock face, where a team of engineers, scientists, and soldiers worked tirelessly. Their mission was not just one of exploration but of critical importance to the Galactic Union. The Union had learned, through encrypted transmissions, that Velaris 6 held more than just geological curiosities. Buried deep within its mountains were the remains of an ancient structure, something so old and enigmatic that it defied known histories. The Xaltran Dominion, a power-hungry empire notorious for its aggressive expansion and ruthless tactics, had taken an interest in this discovery. If they reached it first, they could gain access to knowledge that might tilt the balance of power in their favor. Commander Mira Donovan surveyed the scene from the observation deck, her sharp green eyes taking in the controlled chaos below. The outpost hummed with the activities of the team, an eclectic mix of human and alien specialists. Mira's short-cropped hair barely moved in the wind, kept under the tight fit of her reinforced headgear. She was clad in adaptive armor that shifted hues to blend with the rock and offered a web of protection through microfilaments that crackled faintly with energy. "Mira, comms are picking up chatter on encrypted frequencies," said Lieutenant Kieran Vale, his voice crackling through the comm link. He stood at a console surrounded by screens and blinking lights, his dark features shadowed by the storm. Mira's jaw tightened. "Can you pinpoint it?" "Trying, but the storm is playing havoc with the signals. It's likely Dominion scouts." Mira glanced out into the distance where lightning illuminated the peaks. The storm was their only cover, but it also made them vulnerable. The Xaltran Dominion's troops were efficient and merciless, known for their war machines and disciplined, insectoid soldiers that moved in perfect synchronization. "Keep at it, Lieutenant. If they're out there, I want to know before they know we're here," she said, turning to the team of engineers gathered at the entrance to a tunnel carved into the rock. Among them was Dr. Zara Elric, an expert in xenoarchaeology whose petite frame and disheveled hair were at odds with the focused intensity of her gaze. Zara waved Mira over, excitement sparking in her dark eyes. "Commander, you have to see this. We've found markings, definitely pre-galactic. They're older than anything in the Union's databases." Mira stepped closer, peering at the symbols etched into the smooth, metallic surface of what appeared to be a door. The symbols shimmered faintly when touched, responding as if they held a latent energy waiting to be awakened. "What do you make of it?" she asked. Zara's voice dropped to a reverent whisper. "It's a gateway, or a seal of some kind. Whatever is behind it was meant to be protected or hidden." Before Mira could respond, an alarm blared through the outpost, cutting through the rumble of the storm. Vale's voice was sharp and urgent. "Commander, we got company. Xaltran ships incoming from the north. They're using the storm's cover just like we are." Mira's mind raced. The outpost wasn't built for siege. It was a research station with a skeleton defense crew. "Sound the alert and prepare for immediate defensive measures. Zara, get your team inside."
"Now."
The engineers scrambled to pack their equipment as soldiers took their positions along the rocky ledges, setting up barriers and charging handheld energy shields. The sound of approaching thrusters grew louder, a guttural hum that reverberated through the stone and set teeth on edge. Moments later, sleek, black Xaltran dropships emerged from the swirling mist, their surfaces reflecting the lightning's glare. The doors slid open, and dozens of insectoid warriors descended, their angular limbs moving with a terrifying precision. Each soldier was encased in dark armor that shimmered with an organic sheen, and their eyes, a vivid and unnatural red, locked onto the outpost. "Hold your ground," Mira commanded, raising her rifle and firing the first shot that sparked the chaos of battle. The rocky terrain became a theater of war, with flashes of plasma fire crisscrossing through the rain-soaked air. Human soldiers, seasoned from skirmishes across the Union's contested sectors, moved with disciplined fluidity, using the cover of the outpost and natural rock formations. Alien allies, Talarians with their metallic, scale-like skin, and Cerelians who moved with eerie grace, joined the fight, their own weapons adding to the cacophony. The Xaltran warriors advanced, impervious to the harsh winds and lashing rain. Their movements were synchronized, like parts of a single, deadly organism. They fired their plasma lances with unerring accuracy, the bolts searing through rock and leaving smoldering craters in their wake. "Commander, left flank is folding," shouted Lieutenant Vale as he sent a burst of covering fire toward the advancing line. Mira didn't hesitate. "Shift reinforcements to the left. We can't let them break through." Amidst the chaos, Dr. Zara Elric and her team worked frantically within the tunnel, their hands moving over the markings on the ancient door. The power from their portable generators was just enough to awaken the dormant circuits. The symbols glowed brighter, and the door shuddered as if coming to life. "Zara, we need that door open now." Mira's voice carried a mix of command and desperation. "It's responding," Zara called out, sweat streaking down her temple despite the chill. The door split down the center, each half sliding away to reveal a dark, cavernous chamber beyond. The interior pulsed with a soft, blue light, casting shadows that danced like specters on the smooth walls. Suddenly, a tremor shook the ground. The Xaltran forces had deployed a siege engine, an 8-legged monstrosity that bristled with cannons and sent out shockwaves that dislodged rocks and debris. Its massive frame moved with unnerving fluidity, each step driving deep into the rock. Vale's voice crackled through the comms. "We need heavy support. That thing will tear us apart." Mira's heart pounded, but she forced herself to stay calm. "Team Beta, target the legs.
Slow it down.
We only need enough time to get inside."
Explosions flared as the outpost defense team redirected fire, focusing on the jointed limbs of the siege engine. Sparks flew, and the machine lurched, but its cannon spat plasma, raining destruction across the outpost. Soldiers dove for cover as the ground erupted in gouts of molten rock. "Commander, we're running out of time," Vale shouted, firing until his rifle hissed with overheating warnings. "Fall back to the tunnel," Mira called, retreating step by step while covering her soldiers' escape. The Xaltran warriors pressed harder, sensing their prey's desperation. One of them leaped forward, limbs slicing through the air with lethal intent. Mira sidestepped and drove her blade into its segmented abdomen, the chitin cracking under the force. It crumpled, and she pushed it aside, her breathing ragged. Finally, the last of her team made it through the entrance. Mira slapped a panel beside the tunnel, and a barrier of energy surged to life, blocking the Xaltran from following. The warriors crashed into it, red eyes blazing with fury, but the barrier held. Zara's voice, strained but exhilarated, came from deeper inside the chamber. "Commander, you need to see this." Mira turned and walked into the darkened space, her steps echoing. The room was immense, its ceiling lost in the gloom. Pillars carved with intricate, alien patterns lined the walls, and at the center stood a structure that defied understanding. A crystalline obelisk, humming with a deep, resonant energy. Zara's fingers trembled as she pointed. This isn't just a relic. It's a power source, a nexus. It could be the key to stopping the Dominion. Mira approached cautiously, the glow of the obelisk casting her shadow long and thin. She could feel the vibrations through the floor, a heartbeat of energy that pulsed with potential. But with that power came a sense of foreboding. Whatever the obelisk was, it was not meant for casual use. The pounding of the siege engine outside grew louder. The barrier would not hold forever. Mira met Zara's eyes. "Can we use it?" "Safely." Zara hesitated, then shook her head. "I don't know, but we might not have a choice." Mira nodded, the weight of command pressing down on her like never before. "Do it. We hold them here." Zara and her team activated their scanners, fingers dancing over interfaces as they tried to unlock the obelisk's potential. The air grew thick with tension as the blue light brightened, shifting to an intense, electric glow. The hum rose to a pitch that made the walls vibrate. Outside, the barrier cracked, and the Xaltran forces pushed through. The siege engine lumbered forward, its cannons glowing with a menacing charge. Mira raised her weapon, ready to face whatever came next. "Commander, brace yourself," Zara shouted as the obelisk's energy erupted, filling the chamber with a blinding pulse that surged outward. The world seemed to freeze, bathed in brilliant blue. The sound of the storm, the clash of battle, the pounding of Mira's heart, all of it stilled in that moment. The energy washed over the outpost and beyond, sweeping across the mountains and into the storm, carrying with it a force that resonated deep into the rock. The Xaltran warriors stopped mid-advance, their eyes dimming as if the light had drained them of life. The siege engine's movement stuttered, its cannon sputtering before collapsing in a heap of dead metal. The storm above, as if in deference, began to dissipate, leaving behind a quiet that was almost more unnerving than the battle. Mira blinked, the spots of light fading from her vision. Around her, the soldiers began to stir, exchanging looks of disbelief. The Xaltran were motionless, their advance halted by an ancient power none of them understood. Zara's voice was hushed with awe. "We did it. We turned it back." Mira exhaled a long, slow breath and lowered her weapon. The obelisk's glow had softened, its energy spent but not destroyed. It was a victory, but it came with questions that gnawed at the back of her mind. What exactly had they unleashed, and what consequences would follow? The outpost, once a site of frantic struggle, now stood in silence, bathed in the first rays of sunlight breaking through the storm. The team began to regroup, their faces reflecting relief, exhaustion, and the flicker of hope. Mira met Vale's gaze and allowed herself a brief, weary smile. "We're alive," she said, the words carrying more weight than she intended. "For now," Vale replied, a grin breaking across his dirt-streaked face. "And that's good enough." As they surveyed the aftermath, the quiet mountain air began to fill with distant calls, sentries from the Union fleet, now arriving to secure what remained. But deep within the chamber, the obelisk's faint hum persisted, a reminder that the mysteries of Velaris 6 were far from solved, and that the galaxy's greatest challenges often came not just from war, but from the unknowns hidden in the dark, waiting to be found.